The 1-900 Wrestling program is brought to you, as always, by Patreon.com/1900Wrestling. That's where you can be a part of our patron-only Discord, the best place to watch live wrestling. Specifically this season, man, we're going to have WrestleMania weekend is right around the corner. And when that happens, there is only going to be one place on the internet that you're going to want to be so you can make sure that you are not missing any action and you're having the kinds of conversations about wrestling that matter, that you like, that enrich your life, that aren't just mindless drivel. Head on over there, patreon.com/1900Wrestling. But enough of talking about how we support the show. What do you say we just do the damn thing?
I want you to call me for all of wrestling's latest news and views. I've been around in wrestling for 35 years, and nobody knows wrestling like me. Remember the number 1-900 Wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 1-900 Wrestling. My name is Justin Robert Young. Joining me from Austin, Texas is Willie Dills Gregory. How you doing, Willie?
I'm great. I went into the lake of rejuvenation over the weekend, yes. And came out as I've had a face turn, apparently.
You are face Dills. I didn't know I was talking to heel Dills this whole time, but you are clearly the baby face version.
Baby face Dills, exactly. Basically I got, a couple things happened. I shaved a mustache for a golf event. And then just didn't really enjoy just the mustache on its own as just a day-to-day look. You weren't
going to be dashing Willie Dills.
Sure, yeah. I couldn't quite pull it off the same way as Cody. Maybe with a face mask or something like that, I could have pulled something off. But so I ended up shaving that off, and then I was like, now I got the scraggly haircut with the clean face, and this just doesn't match. This is like. This is like, you got like a woolly willy thing out and you're putting the hair on, stuff like that. You're like, the top doesn't match the face and the bottom. So went and got a slick haircut today. And, it feels good. Feels good. People are walking down the street. People aren't like, who's this disheveled looking human being?
They're not crossing the street or shaking visibly when you're behind them at an ATM. Like, this is a whole new.
He probably has a good job, and that's not how people normally look.
Someone's going to come to you for stock tips. This is great.
Yeah. They're usually like, it makes sense that you are an internet panhandler. Yeah, that actually.
Well, no, now. It's like before, now they're like, oh, my God, like what kind of revolutionary business are you on top of that you're making all your money on the internet, where before people just assumed that you were on Chatterbait.
Sure. They're like, oh, the other stuff didn't work out for you, huh?
Exactly. Okay. Now they're like, whoa, maybe I should get into this. What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, wow, I'll tell you what, Ninja Drake and Willie Dills' haircut. Like this is the Twitch really is coming
together, man. Yeah. It's fine. It's time. It's boom time.
All right, we got so much to talk about, including a announcement last night that is really going to put our commitment to the Wrestle Fund to the test, because it was announced last night, and we will get to
I think this might be too good to pass up. This might be one of those moments where it's not. We didn't make this decision.
No.
Fate made it for us.
Fate made it for us. So we will get to Strong Style Evolved, but first let's discuss the fact that I am based in Oakland, California. Willie Dills raised and lived most of his life in San Francisco. Obviously the Bay Area, a hotbed for wrestling activity, and it was announced last night in Long Beach. The final. I consider this, Willie, to be the final and decisive win for Northern California over Southern California, that they got a lesser card, and New Japan announced that they will be running a massive show this July 7th in the Cow Palace. Revived not but a year and a half ago by APW, the return of wrestling to the Cow Palace has now yielded its biggest show in years. It will be the resurgent New Japan Pro Wrestling with some of the biggest American stars in the world coming to perform in July. Willie, this would only be half an expenditure in terms of travel for you to
That's
get
true.
on out here.
So that means that the money we save on plane tickets can go towards getting closer to the ring.
To go to the best possible tickets for whatever this show is called.
I'm feeling this. Like, look, there's a lot of options that felt pretty good, felt fun, felt exciting. Some of them were maybe potentially a little bit of maybe an overreach of what we could actually do with just Wrestle Fund. So there would be, a little dipping into the pockets on the side. But this is like the opposite of it. This is like all those things rolled into one, and it's like, and we're getting a discount essentially. I'm curious, do you know what the actual capacity of Cow Palace is right now? Is this going to hold enough people if they do stack this card?
Well,
it's got to be like the 15K range, right? That's a big place.
It depends, and I've seen conflicting notes on this so far today. That I guess in the 70s you could do like up to 15.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's probably closer to 9. I guess like the last time the WWE ran it, it was 9.
Okay, this, I'm just seeing the wiki here. It says for basketball it's 13. When it's ice hockey, it's 11. But then it says concert 16,500. I would think that you'd consider wrestling to be closer to the concert level because you get the floor back, right? Whereas hockey and basketball, you lose the floor.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably not that much though, because you do still have. I mean, in the concert, you have the stage at one end. You can pack the entirety of the floor.
And apparently things have kind of undergone a few alterations since
some facelifting. Okay.
Yeah. Since they kind of redid it. So I'm not sure. I do know that New Japan Pro Wrestling just packed in 5,000, and it sold out in 20 minutes for that venue in Long Beach.
It looked amazingly packed. So, and now that you're saying 5,000, I'm thinking they could have done more than that for sure.
Well, what I would suspect is that this is closer to 10,000.
Yeah.
This would also, it seemed like it was set in stone that it was going to be Jericho Naito at this Strong Style show.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden that went away.
Yep.
You never know if we could see on American soil Y2J, Chris Jericho versus Naito, that would be a massive, massive draw.
I mean, at this point, how is this not basically just every big name in New Japan, right? They all have amazing feuds going right now. There's just so much going on with the 3 main factions.
Yeah.
This seems to be the time of year all these things might be coming to a boil to kind of get ready for, because the G1, if people aren't familiar, because this is a G1 special.
This
right?
is a G1 special, yeah.
The G1 Climax, is that that's kind of their second biggest show or whatever, or is
that basically is that
or
sets
it's Dominion,
up,
right?
That sets up their that G1 tournament.
That's what kind of ends this kind of thing, and then heads into Dominion and then Wrestle Kingdom. Is that the kind of the calendar?
Yeah.
But a G1 special means this is basically like a pay-per-view. This is we're gonna get some big names, and right now, I think Golden Lovers, Young Bucks, that kind of stuff still has some room for things. We had the first phase of it. I kind of really hope we get that match again. I want to see those 2 teams go at it again because that was spectacular. I want to see Suzuki again. And I want to see Okada and Naito for the first time. So, man, I feel like that's what we're going to get. We're going to get all of that.
Tell you what, Willie. That sure as hell seems so. This is going to be amazing. Our odds maker, Mitsula, might be coming into town. And by the way, Willie Dills, that is Saturday, meaning that the day before would be the first Friday of the month, so you can check your fucks at the door because motherfucking Hood Slam would take place the night before the New Japan Pro Wrestling show at the Cow Palace. Willie, I can't hardly stand it. I'm bursting at the buttons here.
They'd have to put on an extra special show as well. You might get some extra bookings because there's going to be so much wrestling as far as wrestling fans around that. So we might see some faces that we wouldn't even expect at Hood Slam. The whole thing kind of comes together, doesn't it?
Well,
Wow.
you know, I guess there's also an APW, a super indie APW show on Friday. Dude, it is going to be just an insane weekend for wrestling fans in a town that has such a steep history of it. You know, I think.
So I guess I have one question.
Yeah.
When do tickets go on sale? And let's do this.
Oh no, it's on. Mitsula is coming on out. He has already bought tickets, so airfare tickets. We do not know when it goes on sale, but I do know for sure that when they do, we will be
moment
getting
they do
the best tickets available.
I say we go as far into the Wrestle Fund. I'm comfortable going all the way to make.
Are you turning your key? You're turning your key on this. I mean,
let's go to 11. I think this event needs to go to 11.
I'm really excited for this, specifically considering Strong Style Evolved last night. I did not get a chance to watch it, but I did see all of the clips and stuff on the internet. Let me ask you a question right now. Like, as big as that Golden Lovers Young Bucks match seemed to be, and I only caught highlights, so I can't speak to all of it. It seemed to me that all the buzz is about the ascendant, the prime of his career, Cody Rhodes. This man is on another level right now. He is at the center of everything. He at the end of that Golden Lovers Young Bucks match gets into a physical altercation with the Young Bucks, pushing Nick Jackson away, evocative of Kenny Omega pushing Matt away after the New Japan show earlier this year. He releases a apology on Twitter. Have you read the apology?
It was pretty epic. I feel like right now he's hitting all the right buttons, but also, you know, because for people who aren't familiar, in New Japan, there's basically been like these three factions for the last, 5 years now, something like that. I mean, for a while, it's pretty much been defined into these three factions: Chaos, LIJ, and Bullet Club. And Bullet Club has been kind of the ultimate heels. LIJ is kind of heels, and Chaos is generally like all the good guys. LIJ is kind of like tweeners, right? Like the popular fun heels.
I think they're at this point kind of by definition. I mean, to be honest though, all three of them, they're all gigantic for whatever reason. They're all like 2002 NWO sized, like just super massive, and it's more just a brand. Like, you can read into it, you want to latch onto it, but it's not like, you know, the Bullet Club theoretically still has Kenny Omega, who might be the biggest face in the company. Naito was the biggest face, was the face going into the Okada Naito matchup at Wrestle Kingdom. So they all fluctuate.
They're not really defined in that same manner, exactly. So, but right now we've got this storyline with the Bullet Club is just like as hot as this is like amazing, because you don't quite know what's happening day to day. It's like this is like true soap opera of wrestling going on in front of us, where people are trying to pretend to still be friends, but they keep stabbing each other in the back. But then now literally Kenny Omega is now fighting his former best friends who are still kind of his best friends. And Cody is kind of leading the charge of essentially trying to split up and take, you know, I don't know if you caught this, but you need to go watch like the whole thing. He wasn't even like saying things like Bullet Club. He was saying Team Cody, things like that. It's very clear he's trying to drive a wedge in there, yet pretend like he's not. So then at the end, he actually gets people to come with him, and then ultimately becomes the new leader of the Bullet Club. And then, right now it's just like I just can't wait to see what happens next.
Well,
every single time.
And not to mention, I can't say enough for where we are right now in wrestling when we are watching Cody and the Young Bucks specifically very much take this like, all right, we understand that there is a hardcore audience that is paying attention to wrestling 24/7. They are on Reddit. They are on Twitter. They are sharing every little scrap of information. I mean, like I was joking before about how everybody is watching Michelle McCool's Instagram so they can see how good of a shape the Undertaker is. They get that, and they are feeding into it. And then meanwhile in the WWE, we're getting the other super, I think the biggest breakthrough in kind of how wrestling has been packaged over the past 10 years. And that's Matt Hardy's Broken Universe, which I don't know if you noticed this today, but we got another very like a peak Broken Universe little vignette on Twitter today of Senior Benjamin finding Bray Wyatt's lamp in the lake of reincarnation. I think you might be muted.
Yeah, no, bringing it into King Maxwell, right? Which, by the way, I just had a friend give birth to a child naming him Maxwell, and I was like, you messed up, dude. There's an extra W in there you don't need. It clearly should have been Maxwell.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, like that. Very clearly, we're heading towards something, and I put this in there because I had finally a chance to kind of go back and watch the whole thing. They also re-released like a longer version of it, essentially.
Well, they had previously released it in 6 installments, and now there's just one full magnum opus
thing. Yeah, and it's amazing. Like I watched it all back again. I was just like, the second time was better than the first. It's like you catch things you didn't catch the first time. Like I was barely paying attention to the piano was playing Bray Wyatt's entrance music.
Oh yeah,
as he's coming in. You know, like I at the first I just thought, oh, cool piano music, sure. Then I realized, oh my gosh, he's actually playing Bray Wyatt's music coming in. All of it is amazing. I feel like we're gonna get something with Bray Wyatt coming back and Woken Bray or something, where Brother Nero's coming back. Like it's all kind of there's a lot going on right now, and this is like 6 storylines I care about all at once. That's not usually how wrestling is. Usually we're complaining about how there's a bunch of broken storylines and nothing is really kind of feeding into each other, and it's just, oh, I guess they're feuding now, and now everything is well defined and everything has a lot of like there's so many possible ways they can take all of this stuff.
Well, you know, and this is something that it's funny because I talk about this a lot on the politics podcast, but you know, in politics there is no power except future power. It's the reason why lame duck presidents can't get anything done. They're still the most powerful person on the planet, but you're not gonna be president in 6 months, so screw you. We don't care. Whatever. Spin your wheels. You can't hold anything above me. You're getting out. I care about the person that might be president in 6 months far more than I care about the person that is president now. In wrestling, the best art is future art, the possibilities of what can happen. And now, you know, look, we're getting these tantalizing teases of Senior Benjamin walking over the lantern over to, to Matt Hardy in his flowing colonial pirate shirt in his front yard. Like, we don't know what is going to happen, and that's what's amazing. Same thing with the Young Bucks and Cody and Kenny. I mean, at some point you assume that this is leading to a Kenny Ibushi match, right? That they are single stars that are taking a break as a tag team.
Sure. I mean, that I think is one of the things that's kind of weird about the whole thing is these are guys who they're stepping into a tag team and now they're main eventing as a tag team. A lot of times you would consider any time you're in a tag, like in WWE, if you've been moved into a tag team, that is generally a step down, right? That is a step backwards, and then they're kind of like putting you aside for the time being while they push some other guys and some other storylines, and then, you know, you bide your time over there and then eventually come back, right? Like kind of Seth Rollins was doing that for a little bit when he had his whole thing where the Shield reunited and all that, and then he was teaming with Jason Jordan and blah, blah, and now he's kind of stepping back into singles. Initially, that was thought to be how Cesaro and Sheamus was going to be. Just like, okay, put them together for a while, and then eventually, and then, you know, then they make it work. This is like, no, they stepped into a tag team, and it's the new biggest thing going on, right? Aside from Cody. So, I mean, that's all very exciting, but I think you're right. Eventually, this leads to them having their the epic showdown that Kenny's been kind of they've both been kind of wanting, but avoiding, but wanting. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, that whole thing too. It's like, I'm so excited about everything right now that it's kind of ridiculous.
Well, and it would naturally
want to watch
mean
wrestling every single day.
It would naturally mean that we get Kenny siding with the Bullet Club again, over Ibushi, and now, I mean, but that's a Wrestle Kingdom match, you know.
Well, but you could go the other way with that too. You could have Ibushi end up being the one who ends up getting turned to the dark side, and you know, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, there's so many ways you could do this, and I wouldn't be mad at any of them, right? Like, Kenny getting ultimately betrayed by the people who he's been so close to for so long, and then maybe pushing him towards Okada or Naito. Like, there's man, it's too much.
Tell you what,
and, it's funny. Like a year ago, I didn't know what the hell was going on in New Japan, other than that, like every year there was this thing called Wrestle Kingdom, and there was some amazing matches. And I didn't really know who or what or why anything was going on.
And that the Lord our God, Dave Meltzer, said that anything that happened there was better than your favorite match.
Sure. Like, I was told that I'm not cool for not knowing what's going on. That's all I knew. Some people were right. You weren't cool enough yet if we didn't know what was going on there, because it is super. Like, I watched 2 minutes or so of that. I still need to go back and watch all of the matches, but it's a 35 or something minute long match, and I watched 2 minutes of it, and I was like tearing up.
Yeah,
watching this Young Bucks Golden Lovers match, and it's not like I've been watching them for years. It's like the storylines just kicks in and makes sense.
Yeah,
and matters like instantly. So, and there's so much emotion in the faces of the wrestlers over there too. Like, they're really selling these storylines. It's not just, we feud for a little while, then we move on. They're feuding for years, man.
Yeah. Well, and they're making every bit count. And, let me ask you this, though. Let's say that you are the Young Bucks and Cody, and you are putting your own money on the line in Chicago for All In. And then you get the word, probably not last night, I'm sure it was weeks, if not months before, that the word has come down from the top men in Tokyo that say, you want to know what? We're going to run a gigantic super show that's probably going to feature all of you 2 months before you run a gigantic super show that is going to feature heavily all of you. Like, how do you think they feel about that?
It could go one of two ways. I mean, honestly, it could help or it could hurt. You can't really tell. I think if the show in San Francisco is as amazing as I think we're all kind of hoping for, that could just build. I mean, that could just be like, well, now you can't miss the one that's in Chicago, right? You can't miss the one that's in the Midwest. If you're like anywhere near it, you better get there, right? Like, there's two ways. Like, these guys aren't like, okay, if it was the same weekend in the same city,
yeah,
be pissed, right? But 2 months before, all the way on the other side of the country, I think it can only really help, right? Also, Mitsula in chat, CM Punk is probably definitely not going to be at the one in San Francisco, but
well,
yeah.
I mean, look, right now everything's on the table for in 2018,
sure.
Which is, and we are in
Daniel
March.
Bryan coming back and getting cleared by WWE is on the table and did happen.
I mean, look,
don't count anything out anymore.
Right now, we are possibly at one of realize that 2018 might go down in history as one of the most legendary years in wrestling history, considering what's going on.
That way.
Like we are getting just everything is popping off. It is crazy to think that Daniel Bryan's back. We might see a 10,000 seat show. Independently financed by the wrestlers themselves. They are conducting their own storylines via a YouTube channel that is clearly done by iMovie. Like, it is just a crazy, crazy world.
Well, I think it was done in iMovie when Impact was doing it, but I think
no,
clearly.
No. I'm talking about being the Elite.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that definitely. There's one thing that I recognize watching back the Ultimate Deletion, that is a huge difference in production quality between what WWE brings to the table and Impact Wrestling. And not to say that it was bad before. It was great, but it felt like YouTube. It felt like YouTubers putting on a wrestling match, right? This felt like WWE production, and then having them Matt Hardy tell them, no, do it like this.
Exactly.
Do it the way I did it, but just the sound quality is good and the lighting is good, and everything actually looks good, right?
Without a doubt. All right. Well, the one thing that we do know we might see at the Cow Palace is Will Ospreay making the challenge to the man that was supposed to perform at Strong Style Evolved against Jushin Thunder Liger, Booyaka, booyaka, 619, Rey Mysterio Jr.
Yeah, this actually could be a show stealing match for sure. Ospreay said it pretty correctly. He's been going out and putting on the best match of the night lots and lots of times for the entirety of his career as a wrestler, and it's hard to find guys to keep up with him. Right, Ricochet now no longer on the table.
Yep.
Rey Mysterio might at some point be back in WWE, so this might be like a final hurrah for him as before he actually does end up coming back. So I think they're just both gonna kind of go for it, right?
Well, but it also just kind of shows you where the paydays are for a lot of these guys. That, I mean, they can always go on tour with WWE. They can always plug themselves back into the machine and catch a good payday and catch that merch, that merch funnel. But also now, if New Japan is willing to pay that kind of money, if you kind of read the tea leaves around what Chris Jericho was saying about what Vince told him about New Japan, it's like, look, you can't turn down that kind of cash if New Japan is splashing it around.
Yeah, right now, I mean, they're drawing 5K or whatever. I think their network is selling pretty decent numbers. I mean, they have the money.
Nice. Hey, I don't know, out in Tokyo, I don't know if y'all got any engineers that can make an English version of the site, so I don't have to read my crazy Google Translate version.
Sure.
But go ahead and get on that. If you're running 10,000 seats in the Cow Palace, I think there might be a market for an English version. Just go on Upwork. Make a new version of your website and your app.
It doesn't have to be the full website, just the part where I'm signing up and figuring out where everything is, right?
Yeah, or an app. Not even redo. They don't have an app. Do an app.
Yeah.
Put it on Apple TV. Let me watch this thing in a way that doesn't have me running 50 wires like I'm trying to plug it, trying to steal electricity in Havana in 1930.
Sure. No, I'm with you. Also, it's funny because they are doing the English commentary now for pretty much all the big shows.
Yeah.
I think they need to train their English commentators to act a little more Japanese. I need a little more excited yelling.
Really? So you
Because
don't think that the old good old JR was cutting it last night?
Look, it's fine. It's good, but I'm watching these clips of the Japanese announcers. I'm like, man, I wish I could understand what the hell they're saying because it sounds so much more exciting.
That is true. Well, but that's the that is the Japanese way, man.
Maybe it's a grass is greener situation, but it just seems like they're having a little more fun over there.
Yeah. No, it is great. What if that was like that in reverse with Japanese fans? Do you think that there's a Japanese wrestling podcast where they're like, man, I hate it when I hate it when everybody's yelling. Yeah, you know what I love to do? I love to turn on WWE and listen to the melodic thumpings of Michael Cole.
Sure. Yeah, calling out moves and saying, it's boss time! Well, okay, but yeah, do you think that they wish that they could cheer like American wrestling fans? Do you think it could be a little more obnoxious? Or do you think that they're much happier in, just doing the Kenny?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when I was there for Wrestle Kingdom, it again, the biggest cultural difference was there wasn't a ton of like rhythmic chanting. Yeah. There was just a lot of yelling.
Okay.
It was just a lot
of
like
a constant kind of thing going on.
Everyone
doing their own thing.
Yeah, it was just a lot of like asynchronous yelling.
I will
for
say
your
this
favorite.
though, that does cut down on the awkward moment of, is this still going? Should I be joining in, or are we dying down? Okay, I'm not sure because there's like always that a chant kind of gets started. One guy's really trying to get it going. Everyone kind of gets on board. Then you realize you're the last one still doing it. You're like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize the moment had passed. My bad. So no more of that. You just kind of, whenever you yell Kenny, it's the right time.
So can I want to submit this to you. This was late breaking here when we were recording. WWE just put out a piece of news that I don't know if it's real while mixing in kayfabe or just kayfabe. So I'm just going to read this for the audience. I'm going to read this for the audience. Have you heard this Shane McMahon news?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just going to read this for the audience so you can all play along of whether it is real, real plus kayfabe or totally kayfabe. Shane McMahon is currently recovering from acute diverticulitis and an umbilical hernia in a New York area medical facility, WWE has learned. 2 weeks ago on SmackDown Live, McMahon announced that he would be taking an indefinite leave of absence from his position as the Blue Brand's commissioner. Following that announcement, McMahon was brutally attacked by Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. WWE medical staff initially diagnosed him with a laryngeal contusion and trapezius and rhomboid strains as a result of the beating. Following the vicious assault, McMahon went to the Caribbean with his family to rest and recuperate. While there, Shane developed a massive infection due to acute diverticulitis and was hospitalized for several days in Antigua before being flown back to a New York area hospital where he is currently being treated with heavy doses of antibiotics. The doctors in New York have also discovered that Shane suffered an umbilical hernia during the attack, which will require surgery once the infection has been eradicated. Stick with WWE.com for further updates on Shane McMahon's status as they become available. Real, a mix, or fully kayfabe Willie Dills?
I'm going to go with a mix. I think that this is... So diverticulitis is the thing that Brock Lesnar had when he was in UFC, right?
Yes. Yes.
Which is basically just like a gut bacterial infection type of thing.
Yeah. Our friend Scott Johnson also suffered from it.
Oh, that's right. I do, and he said it was like incredibly painful.
It
which
is
makes
insanely painful. Yeah.
that much more insane that Brock actually went out and tried to fight, a non-kayfabe fight.
Yes.
a
match. Real ass fight. Yeah.
Yeah. I get the sense that this is part of them building anticipation to this potential match on whether Shane is going to be there or whether it's going to be Daniel Bryan in his return match in a 2-on-1 handicap match at WrestleMania.
I mean,
there's a little bit of me that doesn't quite believe that that's how they really want to do it, but also that maybe they want to tease that.
Well, they don't want to do a WrestleMania without Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon is a draw. He is somebody that people pay to go see wrestle.
But okay, so if he does need a little time away from TV to just recover from something that's maybe not as severe as this.
Well, by the way, a little time away from TV is this Tuesday and next Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I even think it probably would be. It might. Wow. They've traditionally done SmackDown when it was taped. How did they do it last year? Did they have a live SmackDown?
No, I think SmackDown was still taped last year. Now it was this year they started doing the SmackDown live.
No, we had the brand
pretty sure
because
it was still Thursday last year too, wasn't it?
No.
I might have my timeline wrong. But...
No, because we had the Bray Wyatt was the champion of the Blue
you're
brand
right because Bray Wyatt was yeah.
But I don't know whether or not
last year it was on Tuesdays and it was live.
I don't know whether or not it was taped, but look, we're not far away from WrestleMania. So if he's like, is this them saying? I don't know, but would they say anything if he wasn't going to make it?
Yeah,
they would just say he wasn't going to make it.
That's what makes me feel like it's part real because they're not sure and they don't want to pull it as like a last minute thing. Maybe they want to start potentially setting something else up.
So
I don't know.
You say you all right here. I just realized now that it's a cop out to go with mix. So how about this? Is it more real or more kayfabe? This story?
I think it's more real.
It is. So he really has diverticulitis and he really is hospitalized.
It's something bad, yeah.
And I don't know if his WrestleMania exactly is really in jeopardy. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, I think it's hospital worthy. Yes.
I don't know, guys. What do you mean? Chat room. What do you think? I'm genuinely baffled by this, but also I'm kind of delighted because if it is kayfabe, it is WWE looking at Cody Rhodes issuing apologies on Twitter and saying, "Hold my beer. We can legitimately make you think that Shane McMahon is dead."
But there's lots of things they could say that aren't as specific as diverticulitis. Like, if I'm Shane, I'm like, can we go with something else here? Can we go with, shoulder injury or something like that? Does it have to be
because again,
I got gross stuff in my poop right now?
That's the weird thing, too, is that it's not just like his injuries sustained in the ring have gotten worse, although they do tie in the hernia to the attack. So it is kind of that.
If you have diverticulitis and a hernia, getting attacked brutally by having a chair around your neck and being slammed against a ring post, probably makes it worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb.
All right. Let's do one because you had not seen the whole of Ultimate Deletion before. Let's give a little bit more of a deep dive into it because I do feel like it deserves it. Where do you go with Bray Wyatt from here?
That's the question, because this is an opportunity to completely rebrand him, if you feel, which a lot of people I think have been potentially seeing on the horizon as his character has been. It's been evolving. I mean, you know, he went from butcher, apron, potential serial killer guy with a following to just kind of a crazy madman, right? Like, he's just, at this point, he's like the homeless guy standing on the corner yelling about how he's a god, but not ever doing anything but stand on the corner and yell about how he's a god, right?
Yeah.
So this is a good opportunity, I think, to not necessarily like completely just blow the character up, but just put him on like another path, right? Like maybe he's seen the error of his way. I mean, the promos just like write themselves, you know? Like, I seen the errors my ways, man.
Yeah.
That's I've been woken in the, you know, it's the whole thing is just, it's right there. And I just saw actually, I don't know where this was posted, like Twitter or something, but Bray Wyatt at a house show in the ring with Matt Hardy, and they're hugging.
Oh, really?
But he's still got the dreads. He's still got the same outfit, like the crazy pants and stuff like that. So they haven't necessarily changed his look or anything at this moment. But yeah, sometimes house shows is where it's kind of like a comic showing up at the comedy store on like a Tuesday night and working through some material, right? Like, you could go to a house show, cut some promos in preparation to do those on TV. So if they have some moment like this, you know, you don't have to change the look. You don't do all that. But I like the idea of him coming on board, right? He's been a leader, right, forever.
You know, this is
what if he's a follower for
this? Just kind of hit me. Here's what you do with Bray Wyatt. Almost the exact same thing. Maybe tweak the look a little bit if you want to like shave his dreadlocks or do something like that. Maybe you can do something like that, right? But here's the only tweak. He never talks. You go full Sting with him. Because you know he can talk. And even when you think it's nonsense, you know he's good at it. He's a very charismatic guy. But nothing would be creepier than Bray Wyatt coming back. And like Sting, you just don't know where. Is he a heel or a face? Does he love Bray Wyatt now or does he hate him? He's just involved in every once in a while. Maybe he's booked in a match. He destroys somebody and then goes off. And now the big question is, where does Bray Wyatt go? What does he do?
No, that could actually be really good too. You could also have him like you don't know if he's working for Matt or if he's on his own.
Yeah.
You know, he could be kind of, remember when the Shield, you didn't know, were they working for CM Punk? I'm not sure what's going on here.
Yeah.
Are they working for the Authority? Are they just lone wolves out there on their own doing whatever? Yeah, you could have him just be, the lights could still go out and suddenly he's there and then he beats the hell out of somebody and then he just disappears. But yeah, never, you know, you could even have moments where he like, he sees a mic on the ground and like kicks it away and just walks off and stuff, right? Like the promo of not doing a promo.
I mean, I think
the Roman Reigns of promos.
Conspicuous silence for Bray Wyatt would be
go a long way.
Awesome.
I love it. I love that idea
because they've overworked.
I just want to see his character change because his character's just been moving in this kind of one direction for a long time and it hasn't been getting him anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So I just would like to see some sort of a left turn. We don't need a U-turn. Just, you know, maybe divert from the path just a touch. So
I want him up in the rafters with the vulture like Sting.
Yes, some face paint,
just
and,
exactly the same
bat. Thing. So if this does happen, I mean, does this save Bray? Like, does he need saving? Is I guess the original question.
Well, I think you're right. You're right in that he needs some kind of character reboot. I've always really loved Bray Wyatt. I think he's fantastic. I think he's a great worker. Ultimately, I think the biggest problem with Bray is that his future was always being a face because people like him. He's a big, fat guy from flyover country that, like, a wrestling audience will always see more of themselves in Bray than they will a super tanned, oiled up muscle guy, you know? And I think
why did that never happen, right? Because I think you're right, like that was kind of the natural progression for him, but it was very odd because I think breaking him up from the family in the first place was like a good first step towards that. But what they needed to have him do was to start, like, they kind of did this around the time he won the world title, right? Like when he actually won the SmackDown title.
Yeah.
They were kind of moving towards this where he seemed like he was reaching out to fans a little more. His promos were more like, I'm with you and blah, blah, like, instead of always where he was just like, I'm the eater of worlds and I'm this I'm that.
For a while, he had that, like, break the machine thing.
Sure.
And I always thought
it was a fight back type of thing.
I always thought that was like, okay, that's what they were going to use to turn him. Because to me, I think I've said this on here before, so throw your phone as far as you can if I already have. But, like, I always thought he was the perfect heel for the Authority. Because you can do a story that isn't, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Vince McMahon. Like, you can do The Undertaker versus Vince McMahon, right? Like, you can do one of those, like, okay, we don't know what this guy wants. We just know that he doesn't like these people holding power. And
well,
that's
you could also
have
the Authority has a legitimate motive that they don't want a madman as the face of their company.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so they actively try to prevent him from finding any success at all. And he literally has the odds stacked against him, and he has to continue to overcome those because, like with Daniel Bryan, it's like, oh, he's small. Okay.
Yeah.
With Bray Wyatt, it's like, he's insane. Like, no, we don't want to give this guy the keys to the car.
I think that was ultimately what was really disappointing about that WrestleMania match that we saw last year was that it seemed clear that, like, if there was one way that you would turn Bray face, it was by having Randy Orton, like, burn down his, like, his shack while he cries on television,
Yeah.
And then to have that match kind of be what it was, where it was, like, kind of weird and spooky, but never really went anywhere.
I wanted, like, a really emotional response from Bray and not, I'm going to tell somebody to shine cockroaches down onto the ring, and that's going to be my advantage, right? Like, I wanted him to just really, like, be like the kid who got beat up and finally he finally, like, let loose his aggression, and it was on Randy Orton. That's what I was kind of hoping for, and I think a lot of people were.
There is kind of, like, story-wise, there's a real Wizard of Oz kind of thing to Bray Wyatt that you could go to, that it's like, he's the great and powerful Oz, but ultimately he's just a guy. And what we see, what we read as, just because he's an insecure guy who screams, I'm the eater of worlds, and is in a smoky room, like, now we have this vision of him, but really he is somebody that we all want to be, a projected version of ourselves because we feel hurt and insecure.
That's a great at some point direction for him to go, is to kind of admit that it was all camera tricks and slick lines, right, forever.
Or more, to have somebody reveal that. Like, to have somebody bully him
have to, like, fight that realization and then, like, kind of ultimately accept it, right, would be kind of interesting, because a lot of people deal with trying to pretend to be somebody they're not when they go out into the world, right?
Yeah.
And then they come home and they feel like, I'm a fraud and I hope I never get found out. And to have somebody, like, go through that in front of, like, us could be a really interesting storyline, right? Especially if he discovers that I got found out, but it's okay because actually who I really am is maybe the better version of myself.
Exactly.
And who I was pretending to be isn't, right?
Because the real me goes home with JoJo.
True.
So, all right. So it seems as if that we are getting, based on the stuff today, more continuation of the broken universe, where Bray Wyatt is out there in his pirate T-shirt, handing the artifact of war. Did you just? I just love the moment in the video when Skarsgård, the dilapidated boat.
Yeah. Skarsgård is clearly, omniscient. He shows up, understands. He's like, hey, look what I found. He's like a puppy just riding around in the lake.
I know. And the more lines we can give Senor Benjamin, just the better. I just love, him.
But this is, I think ultimately this is fantastic because this ultimate deletion was, okay, here's all the stuff all at once with no real explanation. So if you liked it when it was Impact, TNA, whatever, then you probably still like it because these are all the things that you know. But now we've got the opportunity to move it forward, right?
Yeah.
Let's not just do that and then be like, okay, now like do it again, do it again, do it again. Like, oh no, let's add some wrinkles to this, right?
By the way, and if we're going to go into the reading the tea leaves behind the scenes here, it sure seems like Matt Hardy personally was working very, very, very hard to pull every lever he had to make that ultimate deletion as big of a deal in social media as he could. Like, not only did he plug the ever-loving crap out of it going into it, but like he did a call-in on TMZ where he did everything in character outside the house of the Hardy compound. They had Mick Foley, ask him a question. Like, that, it very much seemed like he is, I don't know whether he's trying to convince, and I use that term very literally, somebody in the back that things were really good and they are promising going forward. But man, would I love to know what Vince McMahon thought of the ultimate deletion and just everything.
So, actually, I didn't even look. How many views does this have? Okay, this just went up today, so it's not really, we can't really get a barometer on that.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that stuff now does come down to like how much interaction is it getting on social media. And yeah, I think you're right. Like, if he's convinced me of anything, it's that it's still cool to him. Like, this is not past its prime at all. He sees a lot more in this. So I don't know. I really think that if he continues to push and innovate this as hard as he's trying to right now, you have no choice but if you're Vince to eventually go like, okay, yeah, this is gold. Like, it's because it's just going to get to that point. All the people who aren't sure, we have to get to that point where what happened before with the TNA crowd happens to WWE crowd at that level, right? Which is that event, like, at first they go, I don't know about this. And then eventually it's just like the thing they can't wait for is whenever Matt Hardy shows up, right? Live audiences will pop for him, but you need the people watching on TV to understand what the hell is going on.
All right. Over under WrestleMania. When will we next see Bray Wyatt?
Will
it be before? Or
it's going to be before, but I don't think
before
it
or during WrestleMania. It won't be a Raw after WrestleMania thing, because that would be. No. I mean, if you think about it, that's a pretty big Raw after WrestleMania thing. Is they re-debuting Bray Wyatt?
Yeah, it's true, but I don't think that they want to. I don't think they want to do the ultimate deletion 3 weeks before and then no real follow up to it. But I could be wrong, absolutely. I mean, I could also see like you're saying that it's a good Raw after WrestleMania thing. It also doesn't even have to happen on Raw. There could just be more vignette things. It's crazy, like when you start to delve into the behind, like watching stuff that's not just Raw and SmackDown, how much content they actually put out that isn't Raw and SmackDown. Yeah. Right? Like, there's tons and tons of this stuff that never gets seen on the shows. And if you aren't kind of paying attention, you miss all of it. And some of it is my favorite stuff. So they could just be do that kind of stuff and save him for a while. But I feel like we're going to see him. I feel like we're going to see that storyline continue to progress, whether or not it ends up doing anything at WrestleMania.
Yeah. All right. Do we have a philosophical question?
Unfortunately, no, we do not, because I've been spending all day doing my hair.
No problem. Then you want to know what? Let's go ahead and bring this one on home with our most popular segment. That is actually here. You want to know what? Go ahead and set up what the Melodica challenge is for everybody.
Okay, so for those who are not in the know, the Melodica challenge is our good buddy Trey Warren, who's a fantastic musician. Shows off how maybe not so fantastic he is at one specific instrument called the Melodica, and plays for us shitty versions of wrestler entrances, and you guys get to guess who they are which wrestler this is actually an entrance for. And also, if you are a patron at patreon.com/1900wrestling, you can also download these as ringtones. And some of these, if you had as your ringtone, you'd be instantly the most popular person in the room if it went off. So, just saying.
Also, by the way, eventually we will get back to posting them. I don't know. Here we go.
Sure.
This is last week's, Willie. Do you have any idea what in the hot ham water that is?
Oh man.
Because I am baffled. Baffled, I tell you.
I think I have an idea. Let me see if I can. I mean, is it Shawn Michaels?
Oh my God. You have never been more right in your entire life. I would have never gotten this. Hold on. Wait, what part of the Shawn Michaels theme song is that?
It's the beginning.
The dun 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 dun. Ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, but it's the second. It's like the second part of it. There's like the one part where there's like
this is I
like,
think I'm cute.
Right here. That part right there is the part that actually sounded like it.
Oh my God! All right, I have no. That is totally. That is. Tell you what, Trey. If you weren't doing this for free, I'd stop paying you. Here we go. This is this week's Melodica challenge. Oh, one more time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Too good. Too good.
So the issue with the Melodica challenge is that you have to translate that kind of goofy sounding melodica tone into like crunching guitars and then reimagine it in your brain.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Because oftentimes that's what it's replacing.
Yeah. Do you know what that one is?
I'm like, dude, there's like a million different wrestlers that could be right now because I'm just a bit like da 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 da. Like, so it sounds essentially kind of like Kevin Owens, but I think we've already done Kevin Owens.
Or have we? We will find out for sure.
Well, okay.
Next
I mean,
week.
if we haven't, it's Kevin Owens.
We will find out for sure next week. Until then, Willie, aside from frantically looking at when tickets go on sale for the G1 event at the Cow Palace, what are you doing this week?
So part of the reason why I have a haircut and all that stuff is I am starting a brand new job tomorrow. So that means I'm going to get a little bit less stream time than I wanted to over the next few days. But have no fear. This is only the training period. And then I will be back to essentially streaming almost every evening. So check me out, twitch.tv/WillieDills. So you can find me streaming all of the Hearthstones. And yeah, we're getting a new expansion pretty soon. So that means it's Hearthstone boom time.
Yeah, so
you'll see a lot of me around then.
You'll be back in time for Witchwood, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's like 2 days of actual training, and then it just kind of coincides with working my other job. It's like that all kind of came together. And it's like, so I'll be probably putting on late or super early streams for at least the next week.
Gotcha.
But I'll be there. I'm still gonna put in the work.
twitch.tv/WillieDills. If you want to follow me in this show, then go ahead and go on over to twitch.tv/JustinRYoung. Wrestling content on Mondays. We got politics every single day. We got just a big old plethora of stuff there for you. Twitch.tv/JustinRYoung. And of course, patreon.com/1900wrestling. You want to know? We might have to have ourselves a little meetup There's going to be enough people around here that we might have to do a little 1-900 meetup before.
I mean, it's the Bay Area, so.
Yeah, that Bay Area meetup. Maybe a little live show. Maybe we might be able to work that one out. That'll be a fun time. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Until then, folks.
I want you to call me World
That'll
of
be it
Wrestling's
for us at
greatest news and
1-900
views. I've been around in wrestling for 35 years, and nobody knows wrestling like me. Remember the
Remember.
900.
Be dialing.
Stupid idiots.
They call me Hara.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
And his name is John Cena.
Well, look at this, prima donna.
Thank God Donald Trump's a maniac.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.